This one looks like it's dated March 15th, 2006.
And you want to just go through and maybe just read off of any that jump out to you?
Band Buffet, Earquake, Prairie Cougar, Save the Prairie Sasquatch, Funnel Cloud. I think it's just kind of ironic that 8035 is the first one on the top of this page.
Fritz Juncker had this idea to try to turn Des Moines into a little Austin and follow what had happened there, including the Austin Music Coalition. Fritz was kind of like this bigger than life, just kind of a ready character. But he started meeting with all kinds of people that in bands, people in government, people with businesses, just started organizing with this idea of starting the DMMC, the Des Moines Music Coalition.
I went to school in Des Moines, moved away for a while, came back. When I came back, it was noticeable that the music scene had kind of slipped.
The music scene was kind of not so great here or like anywhere in Iowa.
I've just gotten into the groove of living in Ames or Des Moines and driving 4 hours to see my favorite band.
Des Moines was about, straight streets and good traffic patterns and, beautiful infrastructure and nice curbs and, what have you, but where is the art? Where is the passion, for music? Where is, the things that give, more depth of soul?
We didn't understand why, if we were between the cross sections of the Midwest, why we weren't getting these acts. Minneapolis to Kansas City, you're only one way you're going to get there, and that's going through Des Moines.
The festival idea came in early planning. We had identified the idea of bringing a music festival. We kind of looked at it as a lightning rod, something that could have immediate effect.
We wanted to create a nationally recognized festival, but you're not going to get that by calling it Des Moines Music Festival. You're not going to get that by putting a skyline. You're not going to get that by emphasizing the fact that we have bike trails and waterways. You need to kind of create its own mystique to it, and I think by giving it the numbers for the interstate, you have now gotten people to get past that first stigma of a concert in Iowa.
The first thing that we did as a group was started on smaller events and started working with the Community Foundation, with Principal Financial Group. So we didn't just come out the gate doing something huge that would go like, how are these people going to do this? But we were already delivering.
So, we get applications from all over Greater Des Moines, and many of them are very polished. And here came this group from the Des Moines Music Coalition at the time with this idea about the 8035 Music Festival.
It was a pretty intense meeting, not from a standpoint of getting grilled or anything, but you can just imagine a table with the richest, most powerful people in Des Moines. And that's what it felt like, is, this is somewhere that I wasn't regularly navigating.
After the presentation, you sort of wait for the first commentary. And I specifically remember David Hurd. And he was just like, let's go for it.
I thought that we might get, 30 to 50,000, and we ended up getting 50,000 with 15 matching, basically $100,000. In the first year, it was particularly difficult because, we were just a concept. First thought on my mind is that I thought that if we could get the Flaming Lips, that seemed about a band that we could get, if we could get the Flaming Lips, get them here on the 4th of July in downtown Des Moines, it'd be like, wow. I found out who the agent of the Flaming Lips was, and I sent him an offer. And he called me back and basically said, who the F are you? Wayne, I just knew that he would understand what we're doing here. I knew it. I knew that he, living in Oklahoma City, would know what Des Moines was like and what our lives, in our music life was like.
In 2006, I moved back to Des Moines with the intention of definitely leaving. And I can specifically remember a moment where Wayne Coyne of the Flaming Lips came out in this giant bubble and confetti was going everywhere. The vibe in the space at that moment was so magical. I just kind of knew at that moment, like, I don't want to leave here.
And so I think this is something worth believing in, and I hope 5 years from now we can come back and this will be the biggest festival in the Midwest.
There was, 10,000 people around that were experiencing the same thing at the same time. I mean, there was unbelievable, joy. We made a leap forward, that day, and nothing will ever be like the first year.
Welcome back. 40 acts invade downtown this July for the second annual 8035 Music Festival.
In the second year, what we faced is a little bit not great pre-sales and then rain both days.
And I remember being on the side of the stage, kind of looking out at the crowd, being like, I better soak all of this in because we won't be doing this again next year.
I remember being in what was our finance room in the library, and Public Enemy had gone on the first night, and the second night Ben Harper was going on, and they had a clause in their contract where they could request a cash payment. We were there stressed out, and the tour manager could sense that funds were going to be tight, and I vividly remember him standing there and saying, we'd like to just have a cash payout on this. And myself and Tim Easton, who was the treasurer at the time, kind of looked at each other, and it was oh. And then it was all hands on deck, and we were literally pulling money from the bars to have the cash to pay the artist.
At one point, we could have just pulled the plug and just said, you know what, we just end up negative. We're not going to pay these things, and it would have been the end of the festival. We started the backstage ball, we started a fundraiser, and we just kept leveraging fundraising opportunities and delaying payment and working with people and communicating, and somehow we dug out of the hole. In year 3, we made it all up.
I honestly don't think that we would be where we were unless we would have had that. You learn more from your mistakes and your failures than you do from your successes.
Most of the people involved in this festival are volunteers. There's very limited, of course, the bands get paid. Kind of the top team definitely gets paid for their talents and their services, but everybody else is a volunteer. I think the volunteer vibe that we've established within the volunteer community definitely resonates with the guests and the attendees, and we communicate to our volunteers that you are the festival. You are part of the festival. All of these people are here because of you.
We really started a unique festival that I don't think you're seeing in other places, and that's this combination of paid and free. So you can pay and go to the paid stage and see what's on the main stage, and then you can go out and break out and see the other stages, and lots of local acts, lots of regional acts.
It's not too often that you can, play in front of 1,000 people in your hometown. When you're a band that's just, maybe goes on tour once or twice a year. To play with a great sound with your city in the background, and to all your friends who are in the front row, but all, to a whole new slew of people who had never seen you before. It was really something special because then, every time you did play in town, it seemed like people would come up to you and be like, oh, I saw you at 8035.
We basically just have a giant spreadsheet that carries over year to year, and any band that we could ever think of or we've ever hoped to get makes it on that sheet. And
most of the acts are going to say no, not available, no. You only get so many bands that are available in the time frame and that can come to the Midwest and that will work for the price that we want. When we booked Decemberists, that's somebody I've asked Decemberists for every year up into the year that they booked.
So it's been brought to our attention that the last time we played Des Moines was in 2003 at the Vaudeville Muse. Is anybody at that show?
There's always something that I'm super excited about. David Byrne, St. Vincent, Roots, Steve Malkmus, Frank Black, Spoon was a band that, would never come to Des Moines probably.
Edward Sharpe, when he played, it was like, I don't know, 90 or 100 degrees and the sun was blasting right at him.
Probably my favorite moment was being able to take my 15-year-old grandson backstage for Run the Jewels.
Jenny Lewis decided to do a sound check, and there were probably 12 of us sitting on the lawn the day before she was scheduled to go on, drinking beers and watching Jenny Lewis just do a half-hour sound check.
That's one of my favorite things, is when those side streets, especially for like right before the big headliner on the main stage, just the whole block completely full. It doesn't feel like Des Moines, it feels like you're in a bigger city, and that's just a kind of transformative, fun experience.
The funny thing is, like, we'll even have the conversations with, internally and with friends and stuff, where it's like, what year was that? Who were the headliners that year? And so sometimes it's hard choosing, being able to distinguish what happened one year versus another, just because, in my mind, it's just a ongoing show, an ongoing party, I guess.
It's my favorite weekend in Des Moines every year. Everybody's out, it's warm, everybody's having a great time. You're in the middle of the cityscape, and you run into all your friends. I can't think of any weekend that even comes close to that to me.
And just when you're walking down the downtown streets and seeing people that you recognize from shows, the people that are active in the music scene, and then you see people that you've never seen at a show and you've never seen at the concerts. And it's bringing those people out to experience live music. That to me is what really made it seem like this is great. This is a huge thing for the community and for live music in Des Moines.
First of all, thank you for coming to the 9th annual 8035. 9 lives. We survived 9 lives just like cats do.
Yeah, we're just talking about Amadeo's head and how we probably need to get it covered up a little bit. SPF 90. Just a little more.
I feel his pain.
Yeah, a little more bald there. I'm a little more gray now than I used to be.
10 years ago, you're in Des Moines, we were trying to figure out what is there to do in Des Moines, and now, 10 years later, you're trying to find a parking spot on a Friday or Saturday night because there's so much going on and to do.
I love when I'm out speaking in other communities and they're taking a look at what our secret sauce is here in Des Moines. They are specifically asking me about 8035.
After the second year and the third year and the fourth year, there was always, well, are they going to announce another 8035 or not? And I don't think there's really any question, are we going to do a 10th year or not? It's here, it's going to happen.
Seeing things like Hinterland now and everything happening at Hoyt Sherman and more music venues, I think the original intent of 8035 of getting bands to stop here is happening now.
2017 is going to be the richest music scene in the history of Des Moines.
Is it just because of 8035? No, of course not, but it's a part of it.
My part of the contribution is, I hold on with 2 hands. I'm not going to let go. I'm not going to give up. There is no giving up. And, I'm working with a lot of people that have been there since the very beginning, never given up on this idea that we can contribute to this music scene.
We made it. Holy shit, look how far we've gone. Holy shit, this song is about you. 'Cause I wanna know you better than